All right, we're live. Alabama holds on in College Station. Heck of a second half by Alabama. Jimmy D into the Bud Light. I'm cracking open a cold Diet Coke for the post-game party. You can join us. Drop your comments. We'll get to them. Well, I tell you what, I've seen some wild Alabama football games. That one is right up there, man. I don't even know where to start with.
Well, let's start with the ending. What the hell?
I don't know.
You learn in Madden or college football, EA Sports, you do the math in your head real quick. Kneel down, kneel down, kneel down.
Yeah, they don't have timeouts, by the way. They had to use their timeouts to get you to this position.
I like being aggressive. Let's throw the football, but come on.
What that crap?
Okay, but you get out of there. So put that mental mistake behind. Then you go 14 penalties, and you survive that. Chippy little crackback block hitting from the side.
Terrible call. I know it's 15 yards behind the plate. Yeah. There's no reason Dallas Turner should do it.
No.
But that is not a blindside block. I mean, first of all, he barely blocks him. Second of all, Dunaway's in front of him. It's not a blindside block.
That's right. It's a bang bang call at best. But it's dumb to even be touching anybody at that point.
Right.
Dumb
I agree completely. Completely. Yeah. There was no reason for it. None.
Pre-snap penalties. I mean, that's going to happen on the road. Some, not that much. I mean, falling for the same junior varsity move that a defensive lineman makes that gets you to jump. You see that in 8th grade football. And hook, line, and sinker 5-6 times. They bought that. Before we get into it, can we go hats off Will Reichard, who hadn't kicked a competitive punt in forever, and he may be the best punter on the team. I'll just say that.
He was phenomenal. I mean, you don't think you're going to be doing that today.
Yeah. Right. I mean, obviously they practice it, but he goes out there and he punts it, and he booms it far enough and with enough hang time that Anaya Smith is having to fair catch it every time. That's
right.
Huge.
That's
huge.
No doubt.
Huge.
No doubt.
And then, people pile on Jalen Milroe. I've done it myself.
That was his game.
My goodness. And people pile on Jermaine Burton for his attitude sometimes.
Yeah.
The kid was a baller today, though. Sometimes you got to have that, that little I'm gonna go brass knuckle with you attitude to beat somebody.
Give me a little less. I'm gonna be old man here, but give me a little less.
But they were talking smack too. The penalty he got a flag on, that was 5 feet in front of the Alabama bench, and the Aggie guy is talking to him. So that there's a little both ways there. But you're right. Just snip it and don't say anything. But what they did in the second half. The second half was a tremendous football game. And I don't think Texas A&M got 100 yards in the second half.
Yeah, I'd have to go look. I'll look as soon as they send that out. Alabama, and we'll send out the stats in a moment. I'll be able to look. I'm kind of with you. I'd be surprised if they got 200 yards or 100 yards.
Yeah.
Alabama's pass rush was, and Milroe probably gets your player of the game only because you can't give Alabama's pass rush a player of the game, but Alabama won that game because of the pass rush. It was devastating in the second half.
It was, and you wonder, candies and nuts and all the ifs and buts and all that.
Right.
But if you go back and if you heat Quinn Ewers up more like they were heating Max Johnson up today, because that's what they did. They finally said, "Listen, let's just go." Let's just go.
Right.
And, if he's going to, while we're one-on-one coverage, let's just go and give him as little time as possible. Our guys have to cover him as little as possible. And you wonder if they had, put a little bit more pressure on Quinn Ewers, if that fourth quarter would have been different. But, that's hindsight now. You can't do anything about it. I'm still questioning I'm not going to have full faith in the offensive coaching staff until – they don't do anything like they did at the end of the game there, which was just kneel, and the game is over. But I thought Tommy Rees called a good game, especially in the second half. I thought Milroe was good. The offensive line was good enough. I would have loved some more outside runs or some fakes, and Milroe keeps it around the outside because they had it plugged up the middle. They're blitzing up the middle. There is a run blitz, basically.
Right.
It's stopping the run between the tackles. So, I don't really blame the offensive line for that.
Yeah. Just as soon as we went to the 2 box, Lance is going to jump in here. So let's let him join us. What is up, Lance? Lance Taylor in his USC gear already. We'll get your thoughts on it. We were just talking about what a wild game that was. Just bizarre finish. Dunaway's double fisting Bud Lights. Bizarre game, bizarre finish, bizarre everything in that game.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, that was, first of all, if you're Jimbo on the 2-yard line, you were lucky to squeeze that field goal through. You got to go for it there in that situation. I don't think there's any hesitation. I think you got to go for it. That catch, though, with no knee down, if you would have cleanly caught it,
right? I know.
Down. I mean, it's just insane. And you rush the play afterwards to give them an opportunity to still get the ball back. Yeah. And then on the play of the game, Jalen Milroe, all he's got to do is throw it as high as he can. I think the best play in that situation, I don't know if you guys agree, is you almost put him in a further shotgun situation, let him catch the football and just run through the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
And you're going to take all your time up.
Well, I think your fear there, obviously, is he trips or he, fumbles the ball or something. But they should have never come to that. Take knees, man. Take knees, run it up the middle. There was no reason to throw that ball on first down.
LT's right. First off, they snapped it with 18 seconds on the play clock, and they threw a pass.
I know. It just doesn't make any sense. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, is that a replay? What am I looking at right there?
Yeah.
I could not figure it out. Lance wanted them to go for it on 4th and goal from the 2. Gary wanted them to kick it on 3rd and goal from the 18.
There are so many. I've got to say this, and this is probably not right. This is like Sean Payton destroying Nathaniel Hackett.
No,
I don't feel like we've got a brotherhood in this business. I think we can pick each other apart. Gary's awful. I think Robert Griffin III is awful.
No, I've said this to you privately this season. Maybe we just have too many games on television, but the broadcasting crews, and I'm watching more of them this year. Maybe this is something you guys have known for 10 years, and I've been at the games and not had the sound up, watching them just on monitors. But the announcing crews, for the most part, across there may be 4 good ones out there. 4 good ones. I mean, there are some bad ones. And Nestler, I mean, not his A game anymore. Gary's doing that. But, that is the coaching philosophy for some people, LT. Go ahead and get it a 1-score game and then go, play defense and get your timeouts. I'm like you. If you're that close to a touchdown that you got to have anyway, it'll be a lot easier if you get the touchdown. You sort of try to roll a hard 7 at that point and get the touchdown there. That way, if you do get the onside kick, you've only got to get in field goal range. Or if you get a stop, you only got to get in field goal range. So I've always agreed with you, but I don't think the coach's book says that, and I don't know why, because I agree with you.
Yeah, I think the you're not going to get a short field again. You're not going to have any time left. Everything sets up when you're in the red zone, especially inside of the 5. You got to try to get the touchdown in that situation. But I don't know if it would have mattered. Hey, great win for Alabama. Jalen Milroe continues to get better and better behind a bad offensive line. And I love Tyler Booker, who comes on our show once a week, but that offensive line is not good. Texas A&M defensive front is great. Jermaine Burton, if you could combination him with Isaiah Bond, if he had Bond's speed, I think Burton could be really good.
Yeah.
He had great numbers today, but I mean, that guy runs great routes outside of the fumble that he had today. I thought he played an outstanding game. And he is light years better than he was at Georgia 2 years ago.
9 catches, 197,
That's
a couple of touchdowns. And, he had the big 46-yarder. Isaiah Bond had almost 100. He had the big 52-yarder. Nyblack had 1 big catch. McClellan had 2 catches. But it was mostly just Burton, Bond, Burton.
Well, I mean, and I think Gary said this, and he doesn't get everything wrong, but he said this, and I think he was right, is that Alabama determined these are the guys that are working right now, and Alabama couldn't run the football. So you knew you had to throw all the time, so they just kept the guys that Jalen Milroe trusted in the game. And, it was Bond and Burton primarily. And I mean, that's the smart play by Tommy Rees there is to – if that's who Milroe trusts, you're not going to run the football. They couldn't run it to save their life. So you may as well just have the guys in there you trust, right?
There's obviously difficult games up on the schedule, and I know we'll get to this in a minute, but getting out of that place with a win is so massive for this Alabama team. I don't know what you're going to do about the offensive line. But once you figure that out, man, that team has got everything. What happened to James Burnett, by the way?
I think pulled a hamstring.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he got hurt trying to make a tackle.
Yeah, I mean, Riker did a coming coming in. I mean,
Great job.
Yeah,
great job. We talked about it right before you got on. He was kicking it far enough, but also high enough that he was forcing one of the best return guys in the game to fair catch it every time, which, you know, it doesn't matter if you kick it 57 if they're returning it, right? If you're kicking it 43, and it's a fair catch every time, you'll take that all day long. 43-0 net all day long.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I will say this, as much as we talked last year about Will Anderson maybe not living up to the preseason hype, Dallas Turner absolutely is. That guy is a beast today.
Now, I don't know what happened to him in that Texas game.
Yeah.
But man, he is freaking balling out.
Yep.
Leading the SEC in sacks for the last 3 weeks. Had another one today. I don't think we called his name in the Texas game, but I mean, he's all over the field now, and he has been fantastic.
Yeah.
By the way, four punts averaging 41 yards a kick for Reichert, who hadn't kicked in forever as the punter. And he goes out there and he does it, and the returns were basically 0. So
yeah,
that's massive.
Yeah, they work crazy. We will see what Nick Saban says, as Tesla Talk says a Malachi Moore loss would be devastating. This is a really good defense the way they're playing, but Malachi Moore had been maybe the best player on that defense. That did not look good, and they had to cart him to the locker room. So anytime you're on a cart going to the locker room, it ain't good.
Well, I'm going to try to do this on the fly, but outside of the second quarter against A&M and the fourth quarter against Texas, that's 35 points they gave up in those 2 quarters. Outside of that, in the 22 other quarters, they've given up 56 points.
Yeah.
And I mean, the defense played incredible in the second half. They just did. I mean, they're good. I mean, that's an elite defense.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the flip
side, is huge.
Yeah. On the flip side, UAB is scoring 100 on that USF
they're
defense.
Hey, 2 unit on UAB today, +3.
That's right. 2-unit play. You've had a pretty good day, haven't you, Lance? What are
so let me go through it real quick. So we had 13 plays up. LSU, one of the unbelievable.
What a cover you got for LSU.
Well, it's weird. I was trying to thread the needle, and I played one big teaser this morning, and I've only got one leg left, and it's Georgia, who's up 7-0.
Well, they scored quickly, by the way. Scored quickly.
But I had a couple of buddies over here, and I was like, you know what? I need LSU to get stopped here, punt it, pin them inside the 10, and then have an opportunity to have some kind of crazy defensive touchdown. Exactly what happened. So we got that home. I only put a 1 unit on it because it was an 11 o'clock game, and you guys know I'm afraid of those. Although this year so far has been pretty good at 11. So 1-0 there. Had Syracuse as a 2 unit. So I'm down 1. A&M.
UCLA. Don't forget UCLA. That was a 5-unit play.
Yeah, I'm coming up on that.
Okay,
I'm
my bad.
2, UAB +2, so we're even. UCLA +5. I can't get Peacock because this Uzi shit is killing me. I think Purdue lost. They were down 20-7.
Well, college football lost because Purdue was playing Iowa, but I'll check for you here.
Yeah. But that's where we stand right now. We've got Georgia going. We got Louisville about to go. I don't want to give the rest away, but we've
20 to 14. What were you giving up in that one?
Is it final?
Yeah, it's final.
Nah, I was catching 1.5, so we lost that. But yeah, we're up right now. We're having a good day. Yeah, I mean, it came down to UCLA, and you guys probably didn't get to see it. And the Uzi kept buffering, and it went off. And the functionality, by the way, LG TVs, I love them. The remotes are awful. I mean, completely awful. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that on a smart TV with an LG remote. People out there listening and watching know exactly what I'm talking about. But Uzi is just awful. It just retrains and retrains. But watching that game, Dante Moore made one of the worst decisions I've ever made or ever seen, and threw that pick 6 right before the half where it should have been 20-3, and instead it flipped around and they were up at half. Bad calls. It looked like the officiating was all over Washington State, and we still got out of there a winner. It should have been a blowout. I mean, UCLA, I'm not going to say they were the better team, but they were in better positions.
Yeah. Well, a lot going tonight. You can still get them lanceslock.com and play them, as we always mention, mybookie.ag code next round, mybookie.ag code next round to get that sign-on bonus Dunaway of 110%.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, you make your deposit, Dunaway, and they give you free money, 110%. That is free money.
That's right. So $100, and they would give you 110, right?
Good math.
Montevallo, baby.
Yeah.
Montevallo.
I tried to do it with 50 last week.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
The crazy thing about Alabama's defense, Alabama is playing some of the best defense they played in the Saban era, honestly. I mean, when you consider what college football has become, and what's wild is how much pressure today they were able to get on the quarterback having to blitz. I mean, it was 3 and 4 man fronts that were able to get home on Max Johnson. That poor guy took a beating today.
He did take a beating, and I was he holds the ball, waiting for receivers to get open, and that's it. When you've got DBs that can cover those guys for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, now the clock's ticking on him. If you got any kind of pass rush, they did a good job when they were rushing him, making that perfect U that you want, to not have any gaps for him to escape, because he can beat you running the football. He didn't do that a lot today either. And it wasn't just one guy getting to him. It was 2 guys and 3 guys. And listen, we talk penalties all the time. The touching of the helmet by a defender who's trying to block the ball, if it's not with some force, we've got to get that out of college football. Just touching of the helmet should not be a 15-yard penalty. If we're trying to hit the ball, even if you come down with some force at that point, okay, I'm going to give you that one. But if you're just touching the helmet as you were trying to block and you're being pushed around, I don't think that should be a flag. And there were some questionable calls both ways in that one. But to make 14 penalties on the road, it was setting up to be just like the Tennessee, just like the LSU losses last year. And they were able to play darn near, other than the penalties, perfect second half.
Hey, when you start to look at the schedule too, I don't know what could go wrong where you lose to Arkansas.
It'd be a bad loss.
Probably be a sleepy crowd though, 11 o'clock Bryant Denny, but I just don't see how that happens. I don't see Tennessee beating them right now. LSU's got the offense. For a minute, I felt so bad for Jaden Daniels, and LSU had so many opportunities in that game, but Missouri seemed like they wanted it more. Watching the first half, Missouri was flying around. They were playing with passion, and LSU was just kind of going through the motions. Maybe this catapults LSU in the right direction. Jaden Daniels is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a dangerous game.
I don't. I mean, we can talk about all these other games in a second, but I don't understand when you look at the schedule and you don't think Tennessee will, or maybe LSU if they get right. This team, by their design, is not going to blow anybody out. Every game, including Arkansas next week, LSU, Tennessee, Auburn at Jordan-Hare, Kentucky and Lexington, every one of these games is going to be bring your ball sack, and it's going to be a rough afternoon in the old work mines. It's going to be a tough game. There's not an easy game other than Chattanooga. There's not an easy game on this schedule for this football team.
If this offensive line, though, Dunaway, was as good as they said they were coming into the season, if they were as physical and we're going to show the world how dominant we're going to be and people are going to fear Alabama again, if they were that with how Jalen Milroe is starting to progress, this could be a dominant football team. In some of those games, I think Alabama rolls by double digits, but you just can't trust the offensive line right now.
You can't. And that's
I'm surprised Milroe. If that would have been one of the 3 of us, you're cremating us because we don't get up from that blindside hit.
Yeah, exactly. And I wondered if he did for a second. But at least for the first time this year, Caden followed his missed block and was able to make the fumble recovery at that point. That was a big fumble recovery. I mean, they tried Pritchett there. He made some mistakes as well. But he's not the only one on that offensive line. But that left tackle is a swinging door, no doubt, swinging gate at this point, if you will. But I mean, Milroe's getting better at throwing the short passes too. And Brown, you were right. I wanted to go back to what you said about them sticking with Burton and Bonds, and it was a comfort thing for Milroe. Another thing they did is they didn't try to show that we've got a 62 play sheet for this game. They ran basically the same play over and over and over. It's like Burton's either going to go long, and if the guy's covering him deep, he's going to stop and going to throw the little turn to him. And they just kept doing that. They kept picking on the one guy to Burton, and I thought that was simple brilliance.
Well, I thought it was, but the thing that's crazy about Milroe, and I pointed this out, how he can follow just an awful throw. That throw where Burton is wide open for the touchdown just short of the end zone, with an absolute dime to Burton in the end zone. It's wild to me how the same guy can make both those throws.
Flat-footed too. He had to throw that one flat-footed, all arm strength. Yeah,
but it was that when Burton was open again, it reminded you of Ole Miss when he made the decision to throw deeper than Burton and throw the pick.
Yeah,
I mean Burton. I'm starting to think Burton, and I feel bad about this because I was like, this dude is so overrated. When Alabama got him, obviously Georgia didn't want him, but he runs great routes. And he is really developing as a player. And I didn't know if Alabama had any receivers. And Isaiah Bond's got the great speed. You know, if Jalen Hell, one of these other guys, can come along, this Bama team getting out of there with a win, again, was so huge. And I think this team's got an opportunity with so much balance in college football. I don't know what you guys thought when Maryland, and I was waiting for Talua to turn it over, but when Maryland got up 7 in the third quarter, I was like, damn,
I know
this game.
Yeah,
that was there was no tricky stuff, no fluky stuff. Maryland just beat them in the first half.
Yeah.
But in the second half, Ohio State flexed their muscle. When they got even at halftime in that one, LT, I even I'm trying to get us going on Reddit. I posted on Reddit in the Ohio State game thread that I think that was Maryland's best shot. I feel good about the Buckeyes. Feel good about our Buckeyes is what I said. And coming up in the second half, got about 100 thumbs ups on that one.
By the way, Jim, 100 thumbs.
Now, I don't want to jump all over the place, but I love our guy Chip Brown and his co-host today in Austin, and I do a show with them or a hit with them every Thursday. So I felt bad openly saying this last week, but I was so sick of the Texas hype. I can't tell you guys how hard I was pulling for Oklahoma today. Oh, God, I'm so glad Texas. Matt McConaughey, you won't see him again on the sideline. Guaranteed.
It was an entertaining game. Good news for Alabama. Nick Saban at the podium right now just said Malachi Moore has a quote-unquote twisted ankle. That could be a lot worse, and it looked a lot worse when he was going off there. James Burnip has a pulled muscle in his leg. Again, to Dunaway's point, I didn't think you worry about that the way Reichard punted. Now he's going to have a week to get ready for it. I mean, just coming off the bench cold, he was fantastic.
You just don't remember when Reichard had that injury that he got on a kickoff.
Yep.
You just don't want to, injure Reichard because he is such a weapon. Let's go back to Jimbo in the first half. They got that drive and they go for it on 4th and short instead of taking the 3 right there. I mean, in games like this, and listen, this isn't old Alabama. With this Alabama offense, I thought Jimbo right out of the gate on that first opening drive, they drive it down and then it becomes 4th and short and they go for it instead of taking.
I would have gone there again. I think it's different on this kind of stuff.
No,
I would have gone late in the game when they kicked the field goal. I would have gone there too.
No, early on, I would have taken that point right out of the gate. But 3-0, guys. Look, we didn't do anything there, and it's 3-0. They're playing from behind already.
Yeah. And I thought too, right before the half, he had chances maybe to use some timeouts and he just kind of let the clock burn down before the half. I don't know.
I don't blame him there because at that point, Brad, I was like, this is not trending well for Alabama. 17-10 going to the locker room. I wouldn't have wanted to cough one up or throw an interception either. I'd have been like, let's get into the hacienda here and reset for the second half. But Alabama came out.
He said as much. He was like, they had timeouts. We felt like 7-point lead. It was a good situation just to go into half like that. I agreed. I thought that's the way they should have gone into half. I thought A&M up 7.5 was going to win that game.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I really did. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought the offensive line would really fall apart in the second half. I'll tell you, Alabama had the game won on the blocked field goal with the return. And one of the dumbest penalties you ever see. And I can't believe they flagged it because
it's not a penalty. He should have done it, but it was not a penalty.
Yeah, it wasn't a penalty. Shouldn't have done it, though. But, you're 10 yards behind the play. But that could have cost him the game because he gets in there, that game is lights out.
Oh, it is over because now A&M is in a pass-only situation, and Alabama is getting all over Max Johnson, and they can play a little softer coverage. If they're up 2 touchdowns, that was going to be bad for Max Johnson. He might have gone out on a stretcher the way Alabama was getting to him.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt Alabama had the better quarterback today. And if you're an Alabama fan, I think you've got to be optimistic. This guy is going to get better and better. I think his biggest problem, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, is I still think the ability to process on the fly, like the game has not slowed down to him yet. He's got all the physical attributes. The guy is so athletic. He's got great speed. He's got great arm. Obviously, he's a physical guy. But sometimes he made one terrible decision today. But when the game really gets sped up, he kind of gets stuck in a moment. And once he gets past that, he's going to be a good quarterback.
I agree with everything. His arm strength's good as he develops the ability to throw that short pass and put it on people's hands. That'll be really, really good. And I still think he's got to figure out the one good thing about Jalen Hurts that I think at a very early age he was able to do. He was able to, sometimes maybe he gave up too quick on a passing play, but he sort of knew when. And I think Deshaun Watson was good at Clemson doing this too. He knew when, 1001, 1002, 1003. Okay, it's not there. Boom, I'm gone. I'm out the back door. I'm up the middle, getting some positive yardage, running the football. And, I understand that when technically running quarterbacks, game managers aren't going to get drafted in the NFL, and you may not want to be that guy. But Jalen Hurts is and Lamar Jackson and, Steve Young used to do it, man. When you can run like Jalen can run,
yeah,
man, I'd have a clock going in my head, and let's get something positive out of this. If it's not developing fast enough, and, he hangs in there. He hangs in there.
3425 says A&M fans are calling for Jimbo's job on Twitter. Scott asked, "What's A&M's record the rest of the way?" They're at Tennessee next week. That is a tough spot for them.
They're a better team than Tennessee. I said this though, like that game was so hyped up for those fans, and they're like, "This is our moment. If we can win this game, we control everything in the West. We've beaten Nick Saban 2 out of the last 3 years." And for the way the game played out, I mean, they had every opportunity. And I had a feeling, I said it last week on the show, that this is going to be the moment where people really start to calculate that buyout. And I guarantee you that private investigator is digging on Jimbo right now. There's no doubt.
Well, they've got road games Dunaway left at Tennessee, at Ole Miss, and at LSU, all losable games for them, obviously. Their home games remaining South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Abilene Christian. So they shouldn't lose another home game, but they got some tough road trips coming up.
I'd say 3-3 down the stretch.
That's a terrible finish for him then. That's another 8-4.
Oh, yeah, he's done.
Or 7-5. If it's 3-3, 7-5. Yeah,
you can't waste a defense like that. That defense is so good. And, and I think it was Dunaway that asked, was it last week or the week before, does he get a pass now? What a catch.
It was a catch.
Almost incredible. But you asked him, does he get a pass now that he's got a backup quarterback? And the answer is no. I mean, you've got way too much talent. You can't be wasting this. And it looks like they're going to waste it. I mean, they're out of it now with 2 losses.
Yep. All right. I can't see another game we haven't really touched on. Anything else you guys want to get to before we shut her down before Monday?
Real quickly, Oklahoma, are they a playoff contender, or you think they'll stumble down the stretch?
No. You look at the rest of their schedule, buddy. They are absolutely a playoff contender.
Likely have to play Texas.
They're probably going to have to beat Texas again. Yes.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to be scared. Dylan Gabriel, and I love this. He's like, first of all, he looks like a cross. If Eric Estrada, old Poncho, and our buddy Chris Vernon had a baby, it's Dylan Gabriel. And he's like a step slow, but the game is slowed down for Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Look, he made a couple of bad decisions today, but he's gutty. He's been around forever. He's got so much experience. And I give Brent Venables a ton of credit for a couple of reasons. 6-7 last year, for him to be able to take all of the criticism, to know the pressure he was under going into year 2, and to be able to have his team, the way they play kind of like Missouri. You might not like Eli Drinkowitz, but I love the way Missouri plays, man. They've got a lot of passion. They love the game. They play together well. And that's what I saw from Oklahoma. So I think when you start to look at Oklahoma moving forward in the Big 12, everything's in front of them now. So I'm not surprised. I mean, I was surprised what I saw play out today, because I thought Texas probably had better athletes. But Oklahoma, Venables has turned this thing around, and good for him.
They Dunaway, they play UCF next week in Norman, and it has been a disastrous last 6 quarters for Gus Malzahn.
Bad day today in Lawrence, man.
Yeah, they got scalded by Kansas. That was on the heels of them blowing a 35-7 lead.
Good bounce back for Kansas there after losing at Texas last week to get back into it. So that was good.
Yeah. That's Oklahoma's next 2, UCF and Kansas. So
one of my favorite things on Monday is when I get trapped between Brown doing his Jacob Zeno interview and me on my computer.
Right.
Just listening to the conversation. You're going to have a good conversation with that kid. Played a hell of a game today.
He's tearing it up. They are scorching USF. I know you gave this game out, Lance. So I'm not really surprised they're winning, but the way they are winning, they are up 56-21 right now. And to your point, Zeno is 19 of 25, 353, and 4 touchdowns. He's a top 10, statistically a top 10 passer in the nation. But here's the good news for UAB. They got 211 rush yards. They had been struggling to run the football. They found a little bit in the run game today.
Well, go ahead, Dunaway.
No, I was not it was not game related. It was fans related. So you go ahead first.
No, I was just going to say this. If you guys watch the beginning of the game, our boy Trent Dilfer, and I don't think you guys would disagree. He's got more confidence, or as much confidence as anybody I've ever.
Oh yeah. He ain't short of confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. So they kick the onside kick, and it gets reviewed, and they end up getting to keep possession of the ball. And I was like, here we go. And so then they go 3 and out, and first play from scrimmage, a quarterback draw, they take it to the house, and it's 7-0 South Florida. And I was like, holy shit, UAB is about to get scalded. And then from there, I give them credit, man. They came in really, really prepared. And this isn't a bad South Florida team. I think Alex Golish is a guy that can coach.
If I was UAB, I would pay the money to build a broadcast-only press box and camera standards on the other side, on the sunny side of the stadium.
Yeah.
And there has to be, I don't know how many fans are there, but none of them are on the TV. You're shooting into empty seats.
Right.
And I know everyone's on the luxury side with the amenities and all of that on this side of Protective Stadium. It would just look so much better if the cameras were facing that way instead of this way.
I think it's 973 announced fans today.
No, it's going to end up being about 19,000, 20,000. They're just all on this side.
It's embarrassing.
It's all on this side.
I love our city. We pull for UAB. I think it's good for everybody involved. I like Trent Dilfer's confidence. The whole UAB story, we've talked about it for years, is incredible, from where it was to completely dead to where it is now. But it's embarrassing that there's that kind of you've got the resources now that have been poured into UAB. You've got that kind of facility, and nobody shows up. Nobody.
Speaking of not showing up,
I was going to bring it up.
Hello, Kentucky.
Oh, no. Okay. 14-0. I thought you were going to talk about the fact that the Braves have been one hit through 4 innings.
We got a big play on Georgia, by the way.
Yeah, you do. What was that? 3 units, right? Yeah.
Right now on Georgia, we get a 3-unit play on Georgia. So we had a 5-unit, a 3-unit, 1, 2, 3, 4 twos.
Yeah.
We've still got a 2. We've still got right now, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had to sit here because I didn't want people that wanted to snake my plays, because I put them on that board that you guys know about. Got 6 plays still left. So jump on board, lanceslock.com. We're going to win for you.
Yep. UCLA a winner?
Oh, yeah.
-3.5.
Yep.
Boy, it should have been an ass whipping. But I'm happy to get home with what we got.
Yep,
Texas,
clear that one up. Broken
Texas
plate.
Loser.
Yep, broken plate.
Notre Dame still to come for me.
Uh-huh.
Dogs are up. That's
Yep.
put that in the win side. Bama's a winner.
Yep.
There's a winner. Cal tonight. The Herd. How'd the Herd do? +6.5.
We lost by half a point. Lost by 7. We were catching 6.5. Lost by 7. Brown Bandit took an L there.
Hey, I've got an angle for you guys. Play against me. Like, some years I'm incredible on the upset alert, and some years I'm just terrible for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
I had Syracuse today. I've been awful on the upset alert. So that's one of those things that I shouldn't have carried this over, because I got a text that Garrett Schrader wasn't 100%. And then I tried to confirm if he was playing or not. And I was told it was a little overhyped, the injury. He didn't look at himself. Their defense was absolutely horrible. And, I mean, this ACC is getting fascinating.
Yeah, Dunaway, what were your other plates there? Yeah, Bama, you hit that one.
Bama, I've hit the UCLA one. Dogs are trending good. Got Notre Dame tonight. I've got Cal tonight. Iowa State, is that tonight?
That's tonight.
Yep. I've got Iowa State tonight.
Yeah, Iowa State TCU 7 o'clock on FS2. So
tell me we don't have any more of this Peacock bullshit tonight, though.
Not tonight. No.
Oh, God.
Peacock.
Well, I'll tell you that Uzi, again, if anybody tries to sell you Uzi, tell them to go straight to hell.
I think people told you this was going to be an issue. So Peacock had Rutgers, Wisconsin, and Iowa, Purdue.
Yeah.
And that you're complaining you couldn't watch those two games.
Well, I had a nice 2-unit play.
I know.
I felt really good about Purdue, and I think if I would have watched it, the outcome could have been different.
There's one person in America complaining he couldn't watch Rutgers, Wisconsin, an hour Purdue. It's that guy over there on the side box there. All right.
I haven't done any of the split screens today either.
Well, you're probably not going to want too late unless you got some baseball in it. UAB winning big. Alabama wins. Auburn had the bye. MyBookie.ag code next round. MyBookie.ag code next round.
Hey.
Get that 110% sign-on bonus. Rams tomorrow. How many NFL plays you going to have tomorrow, you know?
I've already sent them out 5. And I've got 1 3 and 1 2 units. So we got a big day coming up tomorrow. Again, 6 more plays tonight. Jump on board lanceslike.com. Cooper Kupp is playing.
He's going to play, right? He's playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am super excited about this.
Well, you better tell Douglas in our chat room. You told him he wasn't playing yesterday.
He wasn't supposed
to. This is why this has become a big deal. Like, they gave him the green light yesterday. He tweeted out this morning, and Rams Nation is going nuts. And Maddie's dad and brothers had us tickets. I didn't even think about it. Like, if I could do over, I was tired from last weekend. I would have gone to LA because I could have done UCLA Rose Bowl, LA Coliseum tonight, and then SoFi tomorrow. Now, the thing is, I can sit on my couch, spend no money, in my controlled environment, do the exact same thing.
True.
So there's something about that, right?
Yeah. No, it would have been fine. $5
ticket at the Rose Bowl, $5 ticket at the Coliseum, and probably $1,000 ticket is what it would cost you to get in SoFi. But yes, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, little Tutu Atwell tomorrow. Ram Nation, let's get it.
All right, 9 o'clock on Monday morning. We'll be with you then for the next round. Everybody enjoy your football and your baseball tonight. We'll see you 9 o'clock Monday. Thanks for joining us for the